listening to
A to the K.
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 A to the K WrestleTalk podcast.
Check it out. Change your life. You'll be thanking me later.
Shall we talk about this week in wrestling, Carl?
Let us talk this week in wrestling.
Well,
Kicking off, it is. I'm stepping up to the plate to talk about Monday Night Raw. And the card this week consisted, it was quite a small card, really, by comparison to fill 3 hours.
Don't worry, NXT will make up for it.
So the card itself, if we give a bit of a rundown, we had a 3-on-3 tag match with Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Lana taking on Asuka, Mandy Rose, and Dana Brooke. And it was actually Asuka, Mandy Rose, and Dana Brooke picking up the win.
I have some gripes about this.
Yes, I look forward to hearing them. We had a episode of the Firefly Funhouse, which was crazy and quite funny at the same time, which we'll potentially talk about in a little bit. We had the tag titles on the line, the New Day taking on the Hurt Business. The winning team would be the ones who go on to Survivor Series to take on New Day Street Profits. And New Day retained, beat the Hurt Business, and remained champions. We had the men's Survivor Series team for Raw trying to show their allegiance to one another by taking on Retribution. And Retribution picked up the win because they couldn't stay on the same page.
Retribution had to get a win in eventually, or they might look stupid.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It was getting really close for them potentially looking stupid at this point. Really close.
Really.
Really close. Based off the shenanigans that we saw in the Firefly Funhouse, we then got to see The Miz take on Bray Wyatt, with Bray Wyatt obviously picking up the win. And the main event of the evening may have been spoiled already by the previous segment, but if you're just watching this one, we had a WWE title match with Randy Orton taking on Drew McIntyre, and McIntyre wins. New champ.
What?
Two-time champ.
Two-time.
So, very exciting. So, let's talk about the highlights and the Oshites. And I've decided I ramble too much. And I know there's 3 hours worth of stuff to fit in. But you know what? I'm not going to talk about it all. I'm just going to talk about the things that were actually good and the things that were actually bad. And, that might mean that we don't cover, all 87 24/7 title changes that happen every show. And we may not cover every backstage segment where that random bald guy, Adam Pearce, comes out of nowhere and chats some shit. We may not go in depth.
They're speaking to the Freak again.
Exactly. None of that. Was he even on SmackDown?
I think they forgot about him again. I don't know.
Probably. So a more condensed version of This Week in Wrestling, if you will, especially from my side, because I chat shit a lot. So, highlights for Raw this week. Really stupid one, but just made me chuckle loads. So,
yeah, it was funny, to be fair.
I thought it was hilarious that basically AJ Styles thought that his new bodyguard just couldn't speak English. And it turns out, well, yeah, he definitely can. And he was just like, well, of course I can. You never asked. It was just the stupidest thing ever, but it got a proper chuckle out of me because it was just like AJ walking around just being like, well, this guy obviously can't speak English. Flat earther, that is AJ. And he's just like, well, you never asked me, man. So yeah, proper give me a chuckle.
No, well, to be fair, he's doing good work with that bodyguard shtick, let's say.
He is. He certainly is. So small one, but it made me laugh. I actually thought the Bray Wyatt and Miz match is really good. So ahead of this, there was another kind of back and forth with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And
I believe Alexa made Nikki Cross.
She did. So obviously Nikki is there saying, do you know what? Lexi, you need to stay away from this guy. It's bad news. Like every teenage bloody relationship going, stay away from the bad boy. Parents are going to be so mad at you, Lexi.
The Fiend's just in the corner with his leather jacket,
Exactly. Yeah. It's almost like fucking the fucking Aaliyah, Mysterio, and Buddy Murphy storyline.
Except
just
more
need-
terrifying.
We just need all of Alexa Bliss's family to come in now and be really disappointed and Bray has to prove
The
it.
whole Bliss family just goes.
Um,
Family show, quite literally.
Well, exactly. But no, so I thought this was quite good. So ahead of it, obviously, Nikki and Alexa had a bit of a spat again. And this time, Alexa had had enough and just beat the shit out of Nikki. And the commentary team made us, super sure and super aware that they are now former best friends, because we are all goldfish and we can't possibly, understand what's happening. So
do you know what, I'm looking forward to them to inevitably having a match, which is where this is going to go. I'm not looking forward to the commentary team reminding us every 5 seconds about how they used to be best friends.
Well, you just know that's what's going to happen. And it is going to be over the top, isn't it? But no, so that was all fine. And then the match itself I thought was really good as well. A really strong match for an episode of Raw. And there was just a bit in the match that just fucking made me chuckle again. And basically, Morrison was getting involved and just being a bit of a dick. So out of nowhere, Alexa Bliss just fucking flies and takes him out and gets him over the barricade and just absolutely wipes him out. And I don't know, I just wasn't expecting it. I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, Morrison, he's there to be as a side character to me at the minute, so fuck it, why not?
Oh, yeah.
But, it had some good comic value there. I love how
definitely.
committed Bliss is to a character when she goes into character work. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's giving it all to this Bray Wyatt stuff.
To be honest, we never saw him again, Morrison, so maybe he's just like Austin Theory and he's just going to stay there for weeks and weeks and he'll just turn up and
gets up 3 weeks later like, how?
Why didn't no one help me? But yeah, I thought the way that she kind of...
Correct me if you disagree on this, Carl. Did you not find it weird that they didn't do their joint music, Miz and Morrison?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like even though they're a tag team now, because he's got the money in the bank, they're kind of separating them again, aren't they?
Yeah, but it was like all Miz. They didn't do that beginning Morrison bit, or whatever way they do it. No, they normally do beginning Miz, don't they, and then go into Morrison's music. But in any case, I find it really weird that they didn't do the two mixed together like they normally do. They both come down the ring together, so why not?
Yeah. I think, weirdly, it also coincides with the fact that the latest series of his Miz and Mrs. show has started up again. And it's like, since that's happened, he's now got the money in the bank. He's now coming down, separately and getting his own kind of, starlight. Starlight? That's not right. What? Spotlight? Yeah.
News just coming in. Dave Meltzer's reporting that WWE have no immediate plans for John Morrison.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That's cool.
But no, I thought, Alexa was really good. The way that she kind of just popped back up as well after taking out Morrison, just a little grin on her face. I thought it was fantastic. I'm really liking these two together. Just batshit crazy, and I like it. And the final highlight to talk about, Anthony, is Drew McIntyre is the fucking man once more, 2-time champion. Just so happy for him. I know, right, got to give you your props, Anthony. You called this shit last week. I was like, nah, it makes no sense. Why the hell would you take the belt off him in the first place if you're going to give him it back so soon? But they did.
It was definitely the right move, though. Like, not dropping it in the first place. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. But it was definitely the right move, because how much better is McIntyre going up against Roman?
Oh, yeah.
No offense to Randy, but...
For me, I honestly think that McIntyre and Roman could be a WrestleMania main event. And, I'm not shitting on Survivor Series. I get it's one of the big four. It's arguably the weakest of the big four now, isn't it?
I would agree.
For me, with the little build that it had, I don't know, it could have...
Well, this is the scary thing, and I think I mentioned it on SmackDown, and I'll get on to the reasons why. But this had 2 weeks worth of build, and I'm so I was, because we've now seen it, was so hyped for that match.
Yeah,
that's something we don't see very often. That
for me,
it's being built for months, and I'm like, just have the fucking match.
For me, and we are going to talk about it. These are two guys on the top of their fucking game, two megastars of today's product. And it was just a 2-week throwaway. And don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on WWE, because Dynamite and AEW was worse. They only gave fucking a lot of their feuds a 1-week build, if that, if it even had a build. So I'm not being fucking pro AEW or anything here, but 2 weeks to build up something like Drew McIntyre and Roman just made no sense. And I just don't understand why have them drop it in the first place. The only thing I can think of is it to kind of cement him a bit more as a main event star, so now he's a 2-time champion. Do you know what I mean?
And he's took out Randy.
Yeah.
within the process. It's not like he won it off like, the Miz took advantage and he won it back or something. He's took it like legitimately off a legend in the business as well, or two legends in the business, kind of. But there's also a suggestion that they're building Randy's stats up as well, so he can compete with I want to say John Cena in terms of the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be close now, isn't it? I think is Cena on 15. I know Ric Flair's 16 times, isn't he?
Yeah,
Triple H is 14.
I think this brings Randy, this title run, however short it was, brings Randy closer to John Cena's 15. Yeah. I want to say he might be like 14 at this point. So when the next time he wins, he's going to be level pegging with him or something. Okay. But there's a suggestion that they had that turnover so that it sort of suited both people. Randy gets another championship on his list number wise, and Drew gets to cement himself a bit further.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was shocked when he lost it in the first place. So I just thought there must have been something a bit more to it than just, giving them an extra title on the records. But yeah, I was surprised to say the least. I wasn't expecting it, so I marked out even more. So fair play to you. You predicted this one. Got to tip my hat to you. I'm not going to say I'm going to eat my hat because you went through that and you had a terrible bout of stomach issues for months after that. That's true. All them mats. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a fantastic main event. And yeah, I thought, so really interestingly, we've been seeing this Drew McIntyre Sheamus thing for a while now, where they're kind of like, we're Celtic, I'm Irish, you're Scottish, yeah, we're in this together. And, Sheamus is a heel by all accounts, and Drew McIntyre is very firmly a face.
So I feel like the turn is Sheamus.
Well, I don't know. I've always thought it was really weird dynamic. And for me, I think this is all going to lead up to, and I fantasy booked the shit out of this. You may have predicted that Drew was going to reclaim his title. But months and months ago, when we did our WrestleMania fantasy booking, I predicted Drew McIntyre Sheamus.
You did.
And I feel like we're going to get it. And I'm fucking hyped for it because I do really want to see it. But for me, Sheamus doing all this kind of stuff and gifting him the family sword and the kilt with the kilt and all this kind of stuff. It was just, I don't know. Sheamus is still a heel. They haven't turned him face.
Drew can come out swinging his sword around.
You can just see his big sword protruding from his kilt. But
yeah, I feel like, I don't know if it was true or a blag actually, but I feel like I read somewhere that sword was actually Vince's as well. But I don't know.
Apparently so. I think Triple H and Stephanie bought him it as a gift, and Vince was like, "Yeah, I used his sword." So that's a hell of a seal of approval from the boss, isn't it? If that was the case, but
yeah. So he comes out grasping Vince's sword in his hand.
I'm gonna put my big sword into the ground and yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a fantastic main event, and I'm hoping it is going to set something up now with Sheamus and Drew because, spoilers if you don't want to know the Survivor Series results.
No, don't do it.
Cover your ears now, but obviously Drew McIntyre lost that match with Roman. So where does Drew go next? Orton seems to be out the picture for a little bit. I don't know where he is. So for me, I don't know, Sheamus build, maybe up to Rumble, maybe up to Mania, but it's going to happen, I think. And
I think only a minor thing. I'm all for the match, but I want Sheamus to have his old music back before that.
Oh, yeah.
Prefer his old one.
Yeah. It's a shameful thing.
You lost your head. Careless man who could wind up dead.
Didn't everyone take the piss out of it? Don't they say it sounds like lobster head? It's a shameful thing, lobster head.
That's the trouble when you sing in an accent.
So, yeah.
I'm all
lobster head theme music.
I'm all for the feud, but I want lobster head back.
So yeah, they were all the highlights in terms of the O'Shites. To be honest, there was a lot of stuff that was just mess. I'm not going to talk about it, but in terms of O'Shites, so all the women's stuff like Lana table again, like you're not good enough to be on the team, but even though you're a tag team partner, blah blah blah.
Okay.
And then
right, I'm willing to just go fuck it. They put Lana through tables now. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about, right? What I'm not willing to forgive is the fact that Lana got put through a table like she does every week, right? Which at one point was meant to be a serious thing when you get put through a table. It was meant to be a big thing you do, right? And then the rest of the night, all everyone's going on about is, poor Mandy Rose is hurt. It's like, Do we literally not care about Lana that much that you're more concerned about Mandy Rose? Mandy Rose got taken to the back, got checked over by medics. I'm confident Lana got told, just get up.
Pretty much.
Like,
yeah.
It's such a weird booking for me that, like, they're being heels and doing heel things. I'm fine with that. But the mere fact that no one else gave a shit, they put Lana through a table, right? And the good guys in Dana Brooke and Asuka just walked away.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's what they do. Don't worry about it. They'll tire themselves out. Like, yeah, don't try and help Lana. Fuck those guys. Why?
No, they've got. I don't know what it is. They've got this
weird
really
booking.
weird. Yeah, it's this really weird angle they've got on it where basically nobody likes Lana, so no one really cares. Nobody wants her on the team. No one's her friend. She's all sad. She's all alone. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't get it. And I think the fact that they're now doing like a counter for how many times she's been through the table. It's just like, it's fucking stupid.
They're ruining table spots for me.
Yeah.
They're just fucking ruining it.
If someone's there now and goes to a table and is like really trying to sell it the following week, I'd be like, well, fucking Lana gets put through her every week and she's out fine. So.
And this is the thing. And they're like, oh God. And like, Lana just gets back up again.
Exactly.
Fuck's sake.
I mean, if anything, maybe it's the fucking most incredible build ever for Lana. Maybe she just turn into a Superwoman character.
Goes into a gimmick of being table proof.
Oh, that's a shirt, that, isn't it? Lana, 100% table proof.
You definitely need to make that. We'll definitely sell that merch.
I think we should. I know Mira will buy. But yeah, so there's that.
Oh, can we make some sort of IKEA reference? Yeah, some assembly required.
I like it. I like it. We could put like the little dots above the A, like the Lana range.
See, tables. I like it. There you go. So there's some shirts that are coming out in the merch store probably tomorrow. Go, Carl, go.
Oh man,
No
this guy works me to the bone. This guy, I tell you.
Did I say you could talk?
I'm sorry. I don't know why I'd be typing to create graphics, but yeah, you get the point.
These are coming out awful.
And then the final shite is just the whole Survivor Series team. Like, how often do we see like a bunch of like oddities who just can't get along, and you've got someone who wants to be a team captain and he's trying to get the team to all band together, but then the whole team capitulates and all goes tits up. Like, how many times we've seen it? It's boring. Just do something different, please.
The thing for me with this is I don't mind all those shenanigans. Like, it happens every year. You're used to it. It's not entertaining really, but it's not aggravating. What I don't like, and I'm confident that WWE aren't actually trying to book him this way, but Braun just seems like an unlikable douche.
Yeah, I really
don't know if they're actually trying to book him that way or he's just inherently an unlikable douche. But everything they do, like, it's like he's just, I don't know. He's hard to sort of like as a character. I never liked him when he was being a face or when he was the Universal Champion either. But the more I see of him, the more they try and adjust his gimmick. It just never works.
No,
for me, I don't know what it is.
Apparently, they're meant to have turned him back face again as well, which I don't get. But
when,
to be honest, he's got more fucking turns in the Big Show. This guy, but I felt like Keith Lee was a bit of a dick this week as well, because they basically had, obviously AJ made them all T-shirts and stuff, and then Keith Lee's like, "Where am I meant to fit this on my bicep?" Because like, "Oh, you're such a big guy," and then Braun's like, "Where'd you get this baby gap?" And it's like, wow, so you both said the same shit joke 2 different ways, and you both look like a pair of twats.
Yeah, well done, Keith. You've now done the same joke as Braun.
Yeah, exactly.
Proud of yourself.
Exactly. And sorry, Riddle nearly used the unspeakable first name there. And Riddle's just
that was a cringeworthy thing. They tried to make a joke about that, didn't they? Or did Keith try and make it? No, that was last week, wasn't it?
That was last week, yeah.
Make a joke. It's like, that was just cringe. Like, nothing about it was working, really. But
no, definitely not.
Yeah. But we did get that funny little skit with his bodyguard, so you got to give it something.
Well, exactly, yeah. So there was that aspect of it, but...
I do need one O'Shea Carl, because I need to talk about it.
Okay.
The New Day. What happened? Is it just me, or have they become a lot less capable on the mic than they used to be? Like, I felt like Kofi was falling over his words, and the stuff they were saying wasn't really that funny. There was a time they were like the biggest thing ever, and a lot of it was down to the fact they were quite organic on the mic, and they were given a bit of freedom to do their own promos. And it's like, I don't know, they came out to the hair business, and they're trying to do that usual talk and smack thing. And I wouldn't have even said Big E was the biggest character in New Day, but am I noticing his absence here, or have they just suddenly got worse? Are they phoning it in? Because Kofi just came across shit on the mic. I'll be honest.
I feel like the whole dynamic's been set up just by one of the guys not being there. You know, it's really
weird,
bizarre. I also don't know whether they're kind of maybe a little bit worried, because you've got the Street Profits who are effectively New Day Light, and they're there, you know, cutting these promos, and for whatever reason, people think they're fucking hilarious. So it's like, maybe they're a bit, like, I don't know, worried or a bit on edge, because
there was a time I would say the Street Profits, they're like the New Day but without personalities. That's the remark I would have made.
Mm-hmm.
But if New Day keep up with the way they were this week, this was shocking. I didn't enjoy that at all.
No, it definitely it doesn't feel like the New Day of old, and it feels like the New Day doesn't work as just the two of them. And I know it's been just Big E and Kofi for a while because Xavier's been out, but I don't even think it worked when it was just Big E and Kofi, if I'm honest.
The thing is, I was hoping for a return to form, because I watch Up, Down, Down. I'm a big fan of it. I know that Xavier's got a ton of charisma. So I was like, okay, when he comes back, they're going to be on form again. And then they split them up for some reason. And he didn't do a lot of talking, Xavier, and the talking was left to Kofi, and it was just not good.
No.
I don't want to rag on him too much, so I'm just going to say not good, but it does concern me.
Yeah. I think it's a very fair shout. It'd be interesting to see where they go next and what they do, because there's not like there's a big string of tag teams, even on the men's division, waiting for them. So what's next for them?
Indeed.
So, Anthony, that was Raw, hopefully in, you know, condensed fashion, if you will. But
Maybe.
to be honest, I thought it wasn't terrible. It wasn't fantastic. For me, it's completely middle of the road. It gets a 2.5, and predominantly that rating is driven by the main event, and maybe a little bit the Fiend Alexa stuff, because, I don't know, like, that main event was fantastic. Drew being the champ, obviously I'm a massive mark for Drew, so, you know, that straight away is probably giving it a whole point, if not a 1.5 on top. But I think it was just a really different Raw, so it wasn't filled with the usual kind of filler segments and random comedy stuff. Or it's not like R-Truth and fucking Liv Morgan eating some Snickers or something like they do every week. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, here's a card, it's condensed, we're going to put longer matches on, and yeah, that's that. And it was, it was fun.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I was inclined to give it a 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you made a really good point there about they've tried to have longer matches and they've changed it up a little bit. So, as a reward, to hopefully encourage them to keep, you know, doing this in future and improving this way, because I know that they worry about my rating every week. It's okay, Vince, I got you. Right? I'm going to go 2.5 as well. I'm going to give them that extra 0.5 point because they have cut out some of the stuff that would have pushed the rating down normally for me.
Okay, I like it. Anthony's rewards, giving out 0.5 stars to everyone.
0.5 stars for all.
So that was Raw, Anthony. Please tell me more about NXT this week.
Okay, so NXT, Carl, was a more stacked card than they've had in recent weeks, to be honest. So we had a good few matches now. All right, these weren't all winners. But as
you
far
say
as the card
stacked, you mean more, right?
Yes.
Doesn't mean they were good.
So as far as the card goes, we opened the night with Leon Ruff going up against Johnny Gargano, again for the North American title, with Leon Ruff taking an upset win, obviously with some assistance because he's a little guy. He's not going to win by himself, apparently. We had Cameron Grimes going up against Dexter Lumis in a fucking annoying match. I mean, a blindfold match. We had Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell going up against Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. All the case. And we saw Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell taking the win. We saw Kushida going up against I was going to say repackaged Atero Ruiz. You may remember him from Raw Underground, Carl.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Toni Storm and Ember Moon going up against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, with Toni Storm and Ember Moon taking the win. We saw Tim Thatcher going up against August Gray. Who? That guy. Tim Thatcher took the win on that one, understandably. We then should have closed out the night on the NXT Women's Champion, Io Shirai, going up against Rhea Ripley in an absolute banger of a match, with Io Shirai taking the win. But that wasn't all. We then closed the night on a promo, a segment, a skit, I don't know, with the Undisputed Era returning against Pat McAfee's group. And that is the card. So let's talk about the highlights, shall we, Carl? I'm not talking about the one you've just done on our notes. Let's talk about the good points of the show. So I've not got too many, but I just want to mention it. We've got the Storm and Moon tag match. Thought it was a really good match. Thoroughly enjoyed. I thought all parties brought it to that match. It was a lot better quality than I probably thought it was going to be. And to be fair, you know, Toni Storm, since she's made a return, she's actually been really good in the ring. I unfortunately don't know a lot of her before that, but I believe she was NXT UK champion for a while, so she's definitely got the chops. But all in all, really good match from them, so I think it deserves a mention on the highlights. Now, I'm going to do something unusual, Carl. My next highlight is for Tim Thatcher.
What?
I know, and that's not because of the match. He had a match with some guy, some grey fella, and won, as he does, with a submission. But they went for this little bit at the end where he was going to be more of an asshole and try and injure the fella, and Tommaso intimidated him into not doing. And we're looking potentially towards a feud between Tim Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa, which, to be honest, yeah, I'm all for that. I've struggled to find something for Tim, but yeah, let's have that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, every week we're saying, well, he's done fuck all since the whole Riddle match. He just doesn't seem to have a place. He doesn't really belong. There's nothing that seems exciting. But then you go Tommaso Ciampa, and you're like, okay, I'd watch that. So fair news.
Yeah. So that to me is like, yeah, you've made it to the highlights, Tim. Welcome.
At the big boy table now, Tim.
My last one is again, I sort of alluded to it in doing the card, but the women's title match with Io Shirai going up against Rhea Ripley. I didn't expect to enjoy this as much as it did, but my God, they've got some chemistry in the ring. That was a really good match, and I honestly, it should have closed the night out. I think it was a stupid move not closing the night out on that match.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like obviously Shirai is fantastic, and she puts on really good matches anyway with most people, but I don't know. I just think Rhea Ripley, since that match she had with Charlotte Flair, I was really blown away by her, thinking she's going to be a main event level star here, and then she's just kind of just done nothing. Has she? Like, I know she went away for a bit, and I think she had an injury or something. She wasn't really.
I don't know if there was actually some issue because she's not American.
Oh, the Aussie thing, wasn't it?
Issue, yeah. In that sense.
But yeah, I know she was missing for a bit, and then she came back, and I don't know. She just kind of been floating around. She had the thing with was it Martinez or Gonzalez? Can't remember which one it was.
I want to say Gonzalez, because was it Martinez doing the Retribution stuff?
Yes. Yeah. So with Gonzalez, so obviously they had that for a bit, but then yeah, this was just a reminder to me that like she's got the potential to be, you know, a fucking big star.
Sadly, I just don't think she's long for NXT. I think she needs to go to the main card now.
Yeah. I just think, I don't know, it's weird because if she goes to the main card, I worry about it because what's she going to do?
I don't know.
Put her against Nia Jax or Shayna Baszler.
See, this is the problem for me. I can't think long term, but if you want to win me over on her going to the main card, put her on Raw, put her up against Asuka for the title. I'm all for that match.
Yeah.
Don't know where you go after that, but that straight away, that's one good thing you could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to the O'Shide, shall we, Cal? So, this one, I don't know if this is me being an old man who doesn't get things anymore, because a lot of people love Cameron Grimes. I don't get it.
I don't get that.
And a lot of people love his shenanigans and his character. I don't like him. I don't think he's funny. And I think that probably sours a lot of this, because I wasn't a fan of this whole stupid shit with the blindfold thing, the fact that we're not actually getting any sort of real match between him and Loomis, and we're just getting a bunch of shenanigans. Just have a match. Like, I didn't enjoy any of it, none of his backstage ramblings, because I don't find him funny. Now, other people might have enjoyed this a lot more than I did, but there wasn't really a match there. The ref got knocked out, so the blindfolds come off naturally because they have to. And that probably was a good move in the sense of, like, it wouldn't have been a good match to watch otherwise. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't get behind this at all. I don't. It's an no-shite for me, but it might not be for you or for other people, because I'm not sold on Grimes.
You know what? No, it is a bit, and I'm quite a big fan of Dexter. So I can't really blame him for it because he's doing his character work fine. I just think it's Grimes, and like even with that weird fucking House of Fun match or whatever the fuck they had at Horror.
Yeah.
What even was it? I don't know what it was. It wasn't Extreme Rules.
Halloween House of Horror or
There you
something.
go. Halloween Havoc, wasn't it? But yeah, like they did that, and that was just weird as fuck and felt out of place in the weird like shower thing and stuff. And I don't know. They need to just exit this feud with the pair of them because
I agree.
I'm sure they could both go on to do some really good stuff, but they just don't have it together, and I think it's just hurting both of them.
Well, this is one thing that annoyed me the other week because one match I thought was a good potential feud and it started out being a good match until Grimes got involved was Loomis and Thatcher. I thought that could have worked.
Yeah.
Now we've got Tommaso sound. I'm work with that. But yeah, Loomis could do better than this. No offense to Grimes, but I'm just not sold on his character.
No.
My next one, Carl. I'm interested in how you feel about this as well. Was we've sort of built up Indy Hartwell being part of the Gargano family, as it were. And I don't know, I think because of the weeks of like helping them out in a mask for some reason, even though we knew it was and so on, I don't know, I kind of expected more from this tag match. So she tag teamed with Candice LeRae going up against, who did they go up against again? Sorry, I need to look at me
All
notes
the
for that one.
K's. All the K's.
Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. And I don't know, I was expecting more from this match. The match itself kind of fell flat for me, and I didn't really see much great chemistry between the two. And I just feel like, I don't know whether I'm being unfair on it, but I feel like I've sort of been built up to them as a team that I'm like, well, I was expecting a little more. I don't know.
I just don't get where they're going. Like, it made sense when she was getting involved and trying to help them both out and stuff. Cool. But, like, what are the tag... Is that it now? Are they a tag team? If so, like, what are they going to do? I don't know. I don't really care about it because they've had this whole story of who is this and, you know, this crazy masked woman's getting involved in XYZ things and it turned out to be her and, you know, great. But, yeah, like, where do you go from here? Feels like they haven't really thought it through.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I don't know. It just didn't work for me. My next one, Carl, again, I touched on it before, is Kushida going up against, I want to say, is it Ruiz? Am I saying that last name right? And essentially, we didn't see a lot of this fella in Raw Underground, but he was in Raw Underground for its brief tenure. And to me, this looked, when he come out to the ring, he's repackaged, he was looking a bit fierce. It looked like they were trying to sort of bring this guy out, do you know what I mean, and give him a bit of a push. But then the match lasted all of 5 minutes. I don't even think 5 minutes. So it's like, well, Kushida got the win, and that was about it. There wasn't enough time to showcase anybody. Can this guy go in the ring? I have no idea. And I think that was a bit of a wasted opportunity. I know I'm not saying he should have won. You know, keep the win with Kushida. Just have a longer match so we can see what they're both capable of.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So my last one, Carl, again, I alluded to it earlier. And that is we closed the night out weirdly. We had the Shirai Rhea Ripley match. Then for some reason Finn comes out to congratulate Shirai because Finn's not been around for a while and he starts talking about the future or whatever. And then Pat and the gang come out to basically talk shit because they're going to get all the titles in NXT, all three of them. And it just sort of then led to Finn being like, well, I brought my friends, and then the Undisputed Era to make a surprise return because they've been gone for a week, I think, maybe 2. And I don't know, for me, I was like, this should be like big hype. And I don't know how you felt about it, Carl, but it's like, well, I don't think they've been gone long enough for it to be a big hype. You know, in some senses, we had surely Pat's going against Adam Cole, Strong and Fisher going up against, what's his face? The One Lorcan and thingy. And I'm great with these details, aren't I? So there's not enough people for Finn to actually be involved properly. So when was Finn part of the Undisputed Era? Are there any other members of the Balor Club? I just don't know. No. So I feel like they shoehorn Finn in there just for no reason, for this element of surprise maybe. And yeah, it just, I don't know. I come off a really good match and I was feeling like this was just, maybe it was just the wrong time of the night for me. I don't know, but I didn't enjoy this.
No, I think again, it's kind of, it almost feels a little bit directionless because you've had the whole Pat McAfee Cole thing, and then you've had like, oh well, he's back now, and they want to go after this. Cool. Oh, here's Pete Dunne. Oh, cool. And then what? I know the building to War Games, but this didn't. I don't know. Did it do anything? I just don't think it did. And again, you've got
this is
Finn
kind of the problem.
involved.
That, because they're building to War Games, I feel like they've brought Undisputed Era back prematurely.
Mm.
Can you really be excited about them being back when literally they've been gone 2 weeks?
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, just didn't. I don't know. It didn't land for me. I get it. They got War Games to do, but axe that.
Yeah.
So that was NXT, Carl. That was NXT. This was not a good week, sadly, despite the card being like quite full compared to what it normally is. I feel like I hate when they kind of do this, and it's something, a little moan I'm going to have about SmackDown as well, if I'm honest with you, is that they're heading towards something, so it's like, let's be all about heading towards that. So it doesn't matter when, we're building towards War Games, so let's do that. And I think some of the elements that annoyed me were because of War Games. So it's not that I'm not going to enjoy War Games, it's just like, maybe finish this week and then we'll go from there. So for me, I'm probably going to give it I'm going to give it a 1. There was like, I was tempted to maybe go a bit higher, maybe go a 2, 1 for each match that I enjoyed, but no, fuck it. They're better than this. They have been better than this. So it's a 1 for me.
Yeah, agreed. I think it was a really poor episode. I think the only kind of thing that stood out properly was the women's match with Rhea Ripley and Shirai. Yeah. So yeah, for me that deserves a point. The rest of the show just felt a bit like thrown together, if you will. So yeah, not the biggest fan.
Totally agree.
However,
the
Superior Wednesday show. That's right. I will never not say this, even if it is worse. But no, so this week on Dynamite, we had the Young Bucks taking on Top Flight. I don't know if it was for the tag team titles. It could have been. But Young Bucks won, so no titles changed hands regardless. We had Kip Sabian taking on Orange Cassidy in a way to kind of further the best friends Miro kind of feud. And Cassidy picked up the win. We had Pac making his much anticipated in-ring return after many a month away.
Oh, so Pac is back.
Pac is back, and he took on the Blade. And I've got here that the Blade won, but I'm pretty sure Pac won. Maybe I was drunk.
Yeah, I thought Pac won.
I think Pac won.
You have wrote a W.
I have, but I'm pretty sure it was Pac. Pac won, I think. Then we had obviously the Inner Circle go to Vegas, baby. So really hilarious segment that we can talk about in a little bit. We had a fucking...
I think, and this is just drunken thinking here, they missed an opportunity here to leave Sammy Guevara behind and have Home Alone skits going. Such a shame.
I mean, well, it was very much a parody of The Hangover, so there's a few things I think they could have done in this. To be honest, I think we'll talk about the way they ended the segments, which I thought I wasn't necessarily a fan of, but as a whole, the segments I thought was good. But what was fantastic about the show, Anthony, is we got to see NWA Women's Champion Serena Deeb in a rematch with La Mera Mera, Thunder Rosa. And it was fucking fantastic contest.
When is it not, man? When is it not?
Good.
Thunder, you're a legend. You always
are a legend. Friend of the show and fucking excellent in-ring performance.
All around badass.
Unfortunately, she did not manage to retain the title due to a few shenanigans with Britt Baker getting involved. But yeah, Serena Deeb retained, but what a hell of a match. It was fantastic.
And they're making it clear Thunder's here for a little bit. We're going into a feud with Britt, quite clearly.
Yeah.
So we're going to see more of Thunder and AEW, and by God, we need to.
Oh yeah, we are ready for it. Make it happen.
Yeah, bring the thunder.
Bring the thunder. I want to be thunderstruck, as they say. So for the main event, we had Brian Cage and Ricky Starks teaming up to take on Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin, with Team Taz members Brian Cage and Ricky Starks picking up the win in this one because of some more shenanigans.
Was it Cody just being so distracted by staring at Darby Allin? The man.
It was. He just loves him. He's just mouthing.
Let me kneel down to you again. Like, fucking weirdo.
You're the face that runs my place. And Brandy's just like, Cody, stop it. Take the posters down off the wall. So, highlights.
He's so cool, Brandy. He's got a skateboard.
He's got complete disregard for his own life. He sets himself on fire and jumps off things. He's crazy.
You don't understand. I'm going to my room. What are we talking about?
I have no idea, but I prefer talking about whatever the fuck that was. So, Anthony, highlights, and there are plenty, as it always is with Dynamite. So let's just jump right in. So the opening match. So ahead of it, we got a nice little intro package to Top Flight, who's a new up and coming team, and they were fucking fantastic. You know, it was my first time watching them properly, and they took it to Young Bucks. Like Young Bucks were the guys slowing the match down. Do you know what I mean? Which is rare for like Young Bucks, and you know, I know that by all accounts, Matt's knee's pretty fucked, and you know they were playing on this quite heavily again. In the match, but yeah, Top Flight just fucking took it to them, and they were flying around everywhere, high spots for days, and they just looked.
I dare say, no fists, just flips.
No fists, just flips, 100%. But no, I was super impressed with these guys, and obviously, you know, when is any Young Bucks match a bad match? It was never going to be. But these guys really impressed me, so I'm really excited to see more of Top Flight in the coming weeks. I don't know, it's just great to see new up and coming teams and talents. Do you know what I mean? It's not just the same usual suspects and guys who are just shit. It's just like something exciting. But yeah, great way to open the show.
And to be honest, fair play to Matt, because by all accounts his knee is legitimately fucked and he's still going.
Exactly. I don't know how wise that is.
They tried to tell him he needs to stop and he just super kicked him.
Potentially did happen. I know we didn't really cover it on the news as well, but by all accounts, Kenny Omega is injured and is working through injury at the moment as well. So,
I mean, you don't know whether to commend it or just call it stupid. I don't know.
Well, it's one of them. Like for a company like AEW, if you lose the Bucks and you lose Kenny Omega and Jericho goes off to tour with Fozzy straight away, you know, despite as good of a job as they're doing building up stars.
Yeah, it's like, just have John Moxley like, guys, and he's like, so I'm gonna want some paternity leave.
Yeah, well, exactly.
That was news, and I totally missed it off, guys. This just in.
Exactly.
They're young as pregnant.
Well, it comes into my highlights, so we may as well talk about that now. So, what the most Moxley thing ever is to announce that, you know, your missus is pregnant as part of a promo. So, Moxley's there cutting a promo around, obviously, the lessons he's learned from his dad about like how not to be a screw up and blah 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 blah. And then just mid promo, he's just like, you know, I got a pregnant wife at home, and it's just like, what? Like that's how the wrestling industry found out about it. Like amazing, and like obviously all Twitter and everything blew up afterwards, and people just and straight away it gets more eyeballs on the product as well. Do you know what I mean? It's insane. Oh, yeah. Like
dropped it like a bomb, and everyone's like, what just happened? So they go back and watch that. Yeah,
exactly.
Clever.
So. Awesome. But yeah, congratulations to them too. It's
indeed.
You know, they are wrestling sweethearts at the moment, aren't they? You know,
your kid's already featured on AEW. There you go.
There you go. It's already going over. Fucking. But yeah, so great. Little snippet there. That was unique.
News, yeah.
Speaking of crazy, awesome things, we got to see the Inner Circle take on Vegas, baby. And yeah, it was just funny. Like everything they do is funny. And this time, you know, there was a couple of things in there that was a bit like, but by and large, it was really amusing. I thought.
Yeah, you got to give it. It wasn't all wins, but it was decent.
Yeah, like you know, it's not the highs of the whole Jericho and Cody promo like thing, or you know, the Inner Circle like kind of Brady bubbly bunch stuff that he did. You know.
I really think it's going to be hard to top that stuff though, because they were fucking gold.
Well, exactly. Like they've really done a lot of stuff. Like they've peaked like really high, so it's really hard to carry on. But for me, I thought, no, I really enjoyed this as a segment. Obviously, MJF and Jericho competed again, much like they did with the Stakes. They were trying to one up each other. This time on alcohol, so it was like trying to go for the strongest drink possible, and they ended up drinking Everclear, which is pretty much 100% alcohol proof. And yeah, it was a terrible decision. And I thought Jericho actually stole the show a little bit, where obviously MJF was like really out of it, but Jericho just couldn't speak. He was like, it just proper tickled me, so I was laughing at that. And then there was a couple of random bits. So obviously they added some Jericho lookalike to the group at one point, because as you do, you pick up randoms when you're absolutely off your head. They also invited Elvis to be part of the Inner Circle, which
naturally,
as you do. I mentioned before, they pretty much ripped off The Hangover. So, well, actually, before that, there was a really funny bit with Jake Hager and Wardlow, where obviously these two have been fantastic throughout this whole thing because they've just stared each other down constantly, not saying anything, just like looking at each other. Every segment, every promo, they're just there looking at each other. And the same happened again inside a bar, and they were just looking at each other, and they just decided to one-up each other by beating up random strangers to see who could beat up the person the most. And it was just, I don't know, fantastic character work, I thought.
Yeah. It's like low-key, brilliant feud work between them two.
100%.
I'm hyped for their match already, and they haven't even said anything.
Exactly. But yeah, all that happened, and then they kind of basically black out, and they wake up inside some kind of hotel, and Jericho is in bed with Elvis, so he's like, what the fuck? And then Sammy Guevara is passed out inside a fountain. MJF is like taking the piss out of him, but it turns out Sammy's fucking put permanent marker all over his face and like, cussed him out. There was a fucking chicken involved at one point. Ortiz was absolutely fucking coked off his head and he was just going around, just pumping iron, just like going mental, which was hilarious. And then bit of I don't know, I wasn't keen on the finish, to be honest. I think obviously you're trying to parody the fact that in The Hangover they're like, oh holy shit, there's a baby. And they basically hear some crying, they go in, it's Hornswoggle dressed as a baby.
Okay.
Yeah, wasn't ideal.
Swoggle's still in TNA?
Yeah. They have this weird working relationship now, don't they, with all these other companies? So
I haven't seen much of like a working relationship with TNA though. That's the only thing.
Well, they had Don Callis on commentary the other week, didn't they, for Omega?
All right, okay, fair enough.
So they've kind of got into it a little bit, but yeah. So for whatever reason, that happened. So yeah, that was a bit of a. It's a shame really because I thought it was a fantastic segment, and that was just it left a bit of a like. So it kind of ended on a bit of a dud. I thought they could have done something more. Like obviously Mike Tyson's been involved before. Why wasn't Tyson there? Or
how was Tyson not there? That lends itself right to the film.
Exactly. So there was a couple of ways they could have ended on a higher note, I thought. But as with everything the Inner Circle do, and I'm interested to see what happens with MJF now because you've got to assume that the end goal with this is he's going to try and usurp Jericho and take the faction for himself and all that kind of thing.
For me, I reckon that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a series of undermining decisions and so on like that.
Yeah. You've obviously got the animosity with Sammy and MJF at the minute, haven't you? But obviously, it seems it's going to be more than that. But I imagine Sammy will get kicked out of the Inner Circle at some point, and it's going to be the end of Jericho and Sammy, and that's going to be quite a big sad moment. And then it turns out MJF was just in it for himself all along, kind of thing.
It'll be interesting to see where they go. It's almost like a classic movie thing, isn't it? Like Sammy's the one who sees it, and he tries to warn Jericho, and Jericho's not having it because he's such a nice guy. And like you say, Sammy's then gone from the group. It's a classic story in some senses.
Well, exactly. They're not really reinventing the wheel, but I don't know. It's entertaining. It's fun. I don't want to see this be MJF for the long term. Like it makes sense to do it for a few more weeks and have the storyline play out and have him and Jericho again or something like that. That's cool, but like MJF is great when he's just the lone wolf and he's just a smarmy bastard. So
yeah, he only needs Wardlow, really.
Yeah, even then, like that's got to come to a head at some point, hasn't it? Like that's not going to last forever. So there's loads of directions, but yeah, I'd like to think that as good as this is, that they're going to build to something and they just don't overdo it because I don't know, MJF is great on his own as like just as prick heel, and yeah, I don't know, interesting. See where it goes. So the next highlight is it's great to have Pac back. Pac is back. So it was good to see him in the ring again. He's just such a fucking phenomenal talent, isn't he?
He is.
He's built like a brick shit house. He can move like fucking a luchador. It's insane. But yeah, he was awesome. The match itself was fine. It was good. After the match, Eddie Kingston basically tries to get Penta to turn on Pac and Rey Fenix again, obviously because he's his best friend, blah, blah, blah. But basically Penta's not having any of it and he goes after Eddie. And Death Triangle is reformed. So just as I wanted to see Pac as the leader of a faction. We're going to get to see it.
I thought it was a heavy metal band, my
bad. Well, you never know, to be fair. But at the minute, you've got Eddie Kingston looking after Butcher and the Blade. So So it seems like there's going to be some sort of trio thing going on at the minute where it'll be Kingston, Butcher and Blade versus Death Triangle.
Okay,
So
I'm there for that.
I'm down for that. So that's good. What else I'm down for, Anthony, is more Thunder Rosa, because my fucking God, she consistently steals the show every time she's on any show.
Every damn time.
Insane.
She is a legend.
Insane. And, you know, she's been doing this, how long was it? Like 5 years? Some 4 years, something like that?
It was 4 years when we spoke to it. I don't know. It might be getting towards 5 because I think it was 4 and a bit. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Like,
minor semantics.
How can you be this good? You know, it's insane. She's legitimately one of the best. I think she ranked like 8th, 7th or 8th on the
14th, Carl. 14th.
Oh, well, she should have been 7th or 8th.
She should have been number 1. Fuck these other people.
Yeah. So, you know, I think it's an amazing achievement for her for such little time in the business. But yeah, the match itself was just phenomenal. It just, the ring psychology that she brings to it is just, it's something else. You kind of, you just get lost in it because it's not the same match. It's not cookie cutter every time. There's something different.
Do you know what? This is the thing that, like, this is why I'm so in awe of her, to be honest, because, like, she is so impassioned by the business. I've not seen this in a long time. No. And that's why it comes across. That's why she's booking the way she is, because she wants it to be amazing. She wants to give it all to all of it. She wants to know every part of the business. She is just, like, even speaking to her even more has sold me on her. She's just, like, she's got such a mind for wrestling. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And
she's such, like, you know,
she tried to help out one of them smaller podcasts as well quite recently. Some fella called Chris, and she's been on his show as well to talk a little bit more about her wrestling experience. Like,
yeah, definitely. You know, it's good to see that we're inspiring these other podcasts. You know, of the likes of what's it called, Talking Jericho or something like that. But obviously, we had Thunder Rosa on our show, and then obviously he's seen that.
Obviously, being a fan of the show, he's reached out to it.
Exactly, he's listened to it.
Naturally, we've said, you know what, you should, because it helps the little guy out. You know.
Well, that's it. So, you know, we're happy that she's able to help out those other smaller pods. But no, it was so good. You know, Thunder, we're always going to be massive fans for life. You know, she was good enough to take some time out of her schedule, chat to us about what wrestling means to her and what she wants to give back to the business. And, you know, you could say that we're looking at it with rose-coloured glasses on, but Thunder Rosa coloured glasses on, if you will. But,
and we kind of are, but she was our first.
Yeah. So good.
No, it's one of them where, like, not to digress from this match, but it was like a mindfuck because, like, I was so sold on her anyway. I think you were really hyped on her as well, but I was so sold on her as a wrestler. And then to get her on the show was just awesome, just amazing. I'll still be in awe of that in years to come because, like, didn't expect that. Didn't expect the response. Just trying my hand. But, yeah, and, like, we were already so hyped about her anyway, so that's such a crazy thing. But she's so good with the fans anyway, isn't she, to be fair?
Yeah, 100%. She's a fucking saint. And, you know, the work she's doing, she's such a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. She's involved in so many things. You've got Mission Pro, which is her own company that promotes.
Definitely should check it out, guys. On Title Match Network.
100%. Like, check it out. They do some great stuff. And it's crazy to think that, you know, because she's going to be an absolute megastar. There's no denying it. You know, she already is. And I just think the world's a oyster. Like, whether she, you know, becomes like the mainstay in AEW, whether she spends some time in WWE, whether she goes after MMA, whether she does everything combined, like, she's going to be, you know, if she's 14th now, I honestly legitimately thought she was higher. So, you know, she's definitely going to be vying for that number one spot in years to come, in terms of the best women's wrestlers out there. So,
no, she is inspiring, but not to. We'll close off the Why We Love Rosa segment, if we could, Carl, and we'll continue talking about Dynamite.
If we must. But no,
that was a digression, guys, and it was mostly motivated by me wanting to talk about it. Sorry about that.
But no, obviously Thunder was unsuccessful in her attempt to regain the title after an epic match, and part of that is due to Rebel or Reba and Britt Baker getting involved, and basically Britt Baker basically takes out Thunder Rosa and then makes it infinitely harder for it to get back in the match, and subsequently goes on to lose. So, you know, the booking kept Thunder looking strong. It didn't hurt
make Thunder
Serena.
look strong.
It didn't hurt Serena at all either, because, she showed she was more than capable regardless of that interference. And yeah, it was just a really great match, booked really well, and it sets up something in Britt versus Thunder Rosa, which is going to be huge for Britt Baker, because Thunder Rosa is widely seen as one of the best out there to do it.
Say, correct me if you disagree, Carl, but I think this will be Britt's biggest feud so far.
Oh yeah, it has to be, doesn't it? She's not really, because of her injury and stuff, especially in AEW, she's not had the opportunity to have many feuds. Obviously, the stuff with Big Swole was great. But yeah, I think this could be groundbreaking for her. I think for her character, and Britt's been phenomenal in her role as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how they handle this one, and if it does continue and we do get to see it.
Yeah.
And lastly, the final highlight was just a solid main event. I don't want to talk too much about the actual match because it was fine. It wasn't, super like let's write home about it. It was good. It was entertaining. But all in all, I probably wouldn't say it was one of the strongest main events they put out in a while. But the reason why it makes it as a highlight is for weeks now we've seen Will Hobbs coming out and kind of showing his allegiance to kind of Cody and Darby of trying to go against Team Taz, and it turns out that he's actually aligned himself with Team Taz this time. So
I was curious about this, and I tried to ask you, Carl, and I says to you, there's rumours that the Hobbs is gonna turn on his teammates and I said to you, Will Hobbs, and you didn't answer me.
Oh,
there you go. Poor dad jokes. We're done now.
Sorry. He's here all week, guys. He's here all week. But Will Hobbs, he will. So he did turn on his former friends, and he's now joined Team Taz. So Team Taz is looking stronger by the week. So it's good. It's good to have factions in it. Let's be honest.
I look forward to a future Taz team match.
Yeah, Taz team. Yeah, like a tag team, but with more spinny shit. Yeah. And in terms of O'Shite, Anthony, so I'm not a fan of contract signings.
Me neither.
Right, and we get to see one on SmackDown as well this week, which I won't spoil. But one of the segments booked for this show was going to be Moxley and Omega signing their contract, because obviously Omega won the tournament to be the number one contender, and after that promo Moxley did, before he can go out to the ring, he is found backstage taken out.
Ironically, he was found by the cleaner. just kidding.
I like it. It was actually his cheerleader girls. They're just sweeping up and was like, "Oh shit, we just come across a wild Kenny Omega." But yeah, so not Kenny Omega. Damn it, Moxley. You get the joke's fine.
It works.
But yeah, so someone's taken out Moxley somehow for some reason. So is it Kingston? Is it Omega before? Who knows? But yeah, Omega is a phenomenal wrestler. He's one of the best wrestlers there today. Character work, he came out in a suit and shades on, and he wasn't great on the mic. He was just kind of like, Moxley's first it's this, first it's that. I just want to sign the match. And he tries to sign the contract. The pen doesn't work. And it's just a bit like, it just felt really flat, I thought. So, yeah, I don't know.
Again, I'm not going to give AEW a pass on it just because it's AEW. When you don't do contracts for most of your matches, this becomes really noticeably stupid. Why does he have to sign what he's had title matches before now and not had to sign a contract? So why the fuck are we signing one now?
Yeah, I think at this point it's lazy. It's lazy booking. It's lazy writing.
It's a way of getting them both in the ring together, and they don't need to do it that way.
No, definitely not.
And it's not even a way to get them both in the ring together because you injured them backstage.
Well, exactly. And it was just I don't know. I don't know what it added to their feud. It hasn't built them up anymore. Unless it's revealed that it was Omega that took him out or whatever. Maybe. I dare say
this is as close to bad WWE booking as I've seen AEW do.
Yeah.
Because what they're doing is reminding us that these two are having a match, and we don't need that.
No.
We could have not had them interact with each other at all this week, and I wouldn't have been bothered.
Exactly. There's enough there. They've had an epic hardcore style match before that was, brutal and insane. And the whole premise behind this one is Moxley's never beaten Omega in a wrestling match. And Omega is the best wrestler in the world. So that is enough to sell this match.
I feel like I've heard about that before. So they've had a match, and now we're saying that Omega thinks he can out-wrestle him, not out-fight him. Where have I heard that before, Carl?
Do you know what? That's a very fair point. I hadn't really made that connection, but yeah, it does kind of scream Edge and Orton a bit, doesn't it?
It does, and I think Edge is going to win.
Yeah,
I'm calling you on it, Dynamite. I'm sorry to do it, but I'm calling you on it. This is a rehash of Edge Orton.
Yeah, it's a very fair comparison. I hadn't even thought about it, but you know, it's one of them. Like it makes storyline sense, just like Orton and Edge did. But yeah, maybe it's not the most creative, and I don't really understand.
The thing is, it doesn't need to be. It was a match we wanted.
Yeah,
like this segment was pointless, but the match itself was a match we want. So it doesn't need to be the most creative in any sense. They just didn't need to do this segment though. They could have had a week off on them too. It wouldn't have mattered.
No, yeah, it just felt super unnecessary. It was like, let's just find a way to get them on the show, but like not really get them on the show. And yeah, I don't know. I think you called him out previously and was like, I don't get the Cleaner character, I don't get the Kenny Omega character, who he's become now. And yeah, I don't really get this kind of suit wearing shades guy, because he just, I don't know, it just didn't land for me. Like maybe he'll get better, because I was critical of Moxley when he first came in AEW. He just felt a bit lunatic fringy.
For me, I feel like Omega's becoming that uncertain about his character that he might as well be pulling a Matt Hardy gimmick and just changing every 5 seconds.
Yeah, he just needs to kind of settle with something like who is he, and like all he doesn't need like overworking. He just needs to be I'm the best wrestler, so I'll beat you.
That's the thing. Sadly, I think he's looking back at the Japan. I said it really weird, that Japan stuff. He's looking back at New Japan, and I think that's some of the problem, because all due respect to New Japan, they have a different style over there, and what works for them doesn't necessarily work for a product like AEW. And I think the Cleaner is a prime example of that.
Agreed. But that was Dynamite, and despite that one shite, I thought the whole show was really good, really entertaining. Pretty much covered all the bases that you can want from a wrestling show. There was great matches, there was great segments, there was comedy. You know, it had pretty much everything. That being said, I'm going to score it at 3.5. It wasn't enough to get a 4, because I think even though, you know, I loved seeing Top Flight and the Bucks, you know, Pac was back, which was, you know, the match itself was okay, but you know, that women's title match, fucking fantastic. The Inner Circle stuff was good, but I don't know, they're just, other than that title match, the matches themselves didn't feel that grand to the point where I'm like, oh, this was a big show. So even though the quality of it was fine, yeah, I don't know, it could have felt a bit bigger for me. But yeah, 3.5. I think it was still a really solid show.
To be honest, I'm a little bit. I agree with your sentiments, but it didn't get to a 3.5 for me. I'd have to give it a 3. It was a good week, better than any other show this week, but that was by and large due to the Thunder Rosa match. To be honest with you, the rest of them were okay, but we fall into that trope of the contract signing. And yeah, unfortunately, I was at a 3.5 until I started talking about the Edge Randy Orton thing. And that's bugging me more and more I think about it. So yeah, I'm going to go with a 3 before it gets any lower.
Okay, that's fair.
So, should we talk about SmackDown, Carl?
Let's lay the SmackDown.
Let's be honest. This is let's get ready for Survivor Series show. So I'm not going to linger on this too long, guys. Sorry, but we're going to talk about Survivor Series anyway. So as far as the card goes, Carl, we have the New Day and the Street Profits going up against Ziggler, Rude, Corbin, and Zayn, with the New Day and Street Profits taking a win. We have Natalya going up against Tamina, with the winner joining the Women's Survivor Series team. That's right, Natalya gets another shot at joining the women's the women's thing. And Natalya takes the win, so she's actually part of it now. We have a Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre contract signing. We have Rollins going up against Buddy, with Buddy taking the win. And then we have Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso with, I didn't say, but I'm going to go with Jey Uso because I'm pretty sure Jey won it. Maybe Bryan. We'll get to that. Why didn't I write it down? Do you remember, Carl?
No.
There was shenanigans involved anyway. I
think Bryan won it.
Okay, we'll give it that. Right, so as far as highlights go, Carl, for SmackDown, and I want to try and be as breezy as possible. The Bryan Uso match, whilst I've just neglected to remember who won, but understandably because it was quite a hard-fought match, was a really good match. And I think what I really enjoyed about this, and I don't know if you feel this way because it's a bit of a daft sentiment, but this was one of the few things that weren't setting up Survivor Series. It weren't Survivor Series related. It was just a good match on SmackDown, and I really appreciated that. So that was one thing. Like that goes in a highlight because they put on a really good match together. There's this echo that they're going to build towards maybe another match with them, maybe going into him versus Roman Reigns, which I'm all for. But all in all, a good match between the two, and they have actually got a good bit of chemistry together. To be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Second highlight, Carl, I'm going to surprise you here. Whilst I hate the cliche of contract signings, as far as contract signings go, this one was really good. And given the fact that we've had only a couple of weeks to build this feud up, it did the job really well, I think. Didn't have to come out and attack each other or anything like that. Nice contract signing, nice bit of back and forth promo work. Did it have to be a contract signing? No, of course it didn't. But you know, it did what it needed to do. And as far as contract signings go, it wasn't the worst one I've seen. Well,
it's hard to sell your new merch as being head of the table when you're not sat at the table doing a contract sign. So
it's a fair point. But do you agree with me, Carlo? Is this still like a really big pet peeve for you?
Yeah, there's just so many different ways to do stuff. Like, you know, don't get me wrong, it was great heel work by Roman again, and Drew's a secondary champion and blah, blah, blah. But did it have to be a contract signing? No.
Cool. Right, so that's how Carl feels about it. Whatever. It was good. Anyway, as far as our shites go, Carl, and I'm, again, keeping it breezy, guys, we've had fucking weeks now of Natty trying to be part of the Survivor Series team. And this week she was kind of getting pissy about the fact that she had to, Bailey didn't have to qualify. And she's like, what? And I'm like, but you've had like 3 fucking losses now to try and join this team. That's why you have to qualify. Right there, because you keep losing. So I don't know. I don't get where they're going with this. I don't get why they've made her lose so many weeks and keep having different attempts. How many? Like, she's acting like she's outdone to, but how many times are they going to give her a shot at doing it?
Yeah.
That's like giving her an open goal and going, go on, you score the next goal, and she keeps fucking missing anyway. Like, what more does she want? So I find that kind of, as a booking sense, I find it kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you feel about this, because technically it wasn't the continuation of Ray and Rollins, but when they said Ray and Rollins, they were done. That was it. I didn't expect that we were still getting Murphy and Rollins with the Mysterios featuring. That kind of bugged me. It's like, just let it go. Let them fight other people now. I'm sick of this.
Like, I honestly don't know where they're going to go from here, because I agree. I thought it was going to be mostly done, and it was kind of like, okay, Murphy is, you know, almost earned their trust. So it was like, yeah, they had to really cement it, didn't they? So that happened again. But then obviously we got what happened at Survivor Series with Seth. So maybe it is fully done now. Maybe we won't see Seth again for a bit.
Yeah. But, yeah, and as I say, this was technically, it was a match against him and Murphy, but, like, they still had all the Mysterio shenanigans. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Are we going to turn Murphy into a luchador? That'd be interesting.
I thought Aliyah she's getting better as an actress, but at the same time...
No, Carl, you got all... When I said that the other week, when I turned around and said, I'll give her a due, I'll try and be positive, she's getting better, you were like, no, fuck this shit. So, no, Carl, I'm not letting you say that.
She is getting better, you're right. But
sorry, what was that last bit?
I don't know. I think you may have heard some interference on the mic.
Oh, my bad.
It could be the voices in your head. But no,
they do say that.
Yeah, there was a bit where she kind of like got startled by Seth or something, and like really and fell over. But it was so fucking corny, and like you just don't fall over like that. Do you know what I mean? She basically learns how to almost do the splits and fall safely on her ass, and it was just kind of like, just that one thing. Just I had a gripe with. So
yeah. So overall, Carl, SmackDown, I'm gonna give it a 1.
Wow. Okay.
And this is purely because it grieved me that most of this was like, did we need the opening like weird 8-man tag match that are always a clusterfuck with WWE anyway? Did we need the New Day rocking up on SmackDown, even though that, you know, they're not meant to be able to do that anymore? I get we're building towards Survivor Series, but it's just kind of stupid. A lot of it was just, let's get ready for the pay-per-view. And it's like, I get that this is Friday and the pay-per-view is like tomorrow, but still, just maybe have a SmackDown. Cause I don't know, it kind of bugs me. And I'm giving it a 1 because of that one really good match between Bryan and Uso.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought this was a terrible go-home show. That being said, I don't think it was worse than NXT. I like the Bryan Uso match. I didn't mind Rollins. I know it's been done, but I didn't actually mind Rollins Murphy either. And even though it was a contract signing, I did like Roman. His heel work. Get away! Stop it! So yeah, for me, 1.5. I think it was better than NXT.
Okay.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa, and you're watching or listening A to the K.